Greetings, respected Bante. Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our weekly Awakening Friends gathering. Let us begin with a walking meditation session today. For that, I would like to respectfully invite our Bante to guide us in a 10-minute walking meditation session.
Hello everyone. So we are starting the session with the walking practice. For this you can turn on video if you feel like it. Join more actively. And what are we going to do? We are going to walk mindfully. That's going to be our practice. And for this you select some space where you can walk comfortably. Once you selected the space, you can walk in a natural rhythm. You can direct your eyes probably around 10 feet in front of you, and that way you walk in a comfortable manner, natural manner. And while walking, you try to be mindful of your steps. Try to take mindful steps, and time to time, attention goes away. Various thoughts, future planning, these things come. Sometimes sights, sounds, they grab your attention. But among these things, you can return your attention back to the walking sensations. Time after time, you notice the steps, notice the texture, temperature of the floor, notice which parts of your feet is touching the ground. That way you try to be mindful of the steps while walking. Time after time, you get distracted. Various other objects grab your attention, but you can catch it and you can return your attention back to the walking sensations. So all of us, let's join a walk-in session. If you feel like it, you can turn on video as well.
Thank you very much, Bhante, for that beautiful guidance. I hope everyone's mind is very settled and ready for this next item on the agenda. We are moving on to our discourse discussion. We will be reading from the Numerical Discourses of the Buddha, translated by Bhikkhu Bodhi. We are referring to the second discourse, titled Abandoning the Hindrances. Today, we will be reading from the 14th paragraph on the page 91. I would like to respectfully invite our Bhante again for the discussion, and I will be the reader today. Homage to the Blessed One, the Arhat, the perfectly enlightened one. Because I do not see even one other thing on account of which unarisen restlessness and remorse arise, and arisen restlessness and remorse increase and expand so much as an unsettled mind. For one with an unsettled mind, unarisen restlessness and remorse arise, and arisen restlessness and remorse increase and expand.
Yes, so that's the discourse for today, and we are on the second chapter. Now, this particular teaching, it talks about restlessness and remorse of mind. I'm sure this is a common thing that most of us are experiencing. And in other words, we can say a monkey mind. Monkey mind, the term is very popular. Most of the people, they are suffering with a monkey mind. They want to do things, they want to pay attention to their studies, they want to pay attention to their work, but for some reason, they are not able to maintain that attention. That problem many people are experiencing, and they want to, figure out a way to solve this issue. Sometimes they use various techniques, like probably like listening to music to calm themselves. Some breathing techniques are there. Then probably even things like, rubbing your palms, or maybe even that spying through your senses. Those different techniques, tools are there, and they try to figure out a way to pay attention to the things that are important to you, right? But you have to understand the root cause behind this. That's what we are trying to discuss. That's what we are trying to focus. The restlessness and remorse in mind increases due to a certain status of mind. In this teaching, Buddha says, for one with an unsettled mind, unarisen restlessness and remorse arise, arisen restlessness and remorse increase and expand. So when we have an unsettled mind, this is the result. We don't know how to deal with it, and definitely the new age technology isn't supporting. So we live our lives like other people, like following the crowds, and as a result, this happens. I don't know why, but these days, when we deal with Sri Lankan children, especially the teenagers, they have this problem. They come and they complain, they say, I want to pay attention to my work, my studies, but I can't do it. I can't keep my attention even for a short period. I am there in the classroom, but I can't pay attention to the teacher. And even the adults, they go to work, but they are not able to pay proper attention. So you can see this monkey mind, it becomes a real problem in your life, and we have to figure out a solution for it. We have to find the real reasoning behind this type of a mind. That's what Buddha is trying to explain here. If you have an unsettled mind, the result is restlessness and remorse. So you keep becoming a slave to this restless mind and the remorse in mind. That happens. And you always keep worrying, sadness, regret comes, and you feel like some danger, kind of a fear. All these symptoms appear. And your mind is full of chaos. You can't maintain a certain attention, right? So this way, we experience restless and remorse in our mind. So the root cause is unsettled mind. And as a result, of course, these things arise. Now, in this new age, we are using a lot of devices, technology. We spend so much time on screens. And let's say you use your phone maybe for few hours daily. Actually, you can check that average weekly report and it will show how many hours per day, right? Screen time. Apart for that, you use sometimes the computers. Even now we are connected through these devices and tablets, those type of devices we use. So maybe at least 4 or so hours we will be spending on screens daily, right? And when you browse internet, when you browse social media, when you use your phones like messages, WhatsApp, things like that, in a way you are training your mind, but you are training your mind negatively. That's the thing. It's like a negative meditation. Because when you research those details, average viewing time of a YouTube video, it's 15 seconds. Then the web pages, average viewing time is 15 seconds. You go on social media like Facebook, you jump from one post to another, right? So this way, we are training our minds to be distracted every 15 seconds. That type of a negative training we do for the hours we spend on social media, right? It's for the hours we spend on our devices. So that way, every day, without you knowing, you do couple of hours, at least few hours of negative meditation. You train your mind to be distracted every 15 seconds, right? So that type of a reasoning is behind these restless minds. Especially in this new age, especially with the technology, especially the younger crowds, and they really experience this problem, but they don't know what is the reasoning. If you ask them how many hours do you use your phone, maybe they will say 5-6 hours. Daily for 5-6 hours, they are on a screen. And later they come and they complain, they can't pay attention. Their monkey mind is driving them crazy. They go to a classroom, they can't pay attention there, right? So these things happen. And in this new age, like there are like funny memes that'll give you the idea of, downsides of using social media. And recently we have come across one for another session, which talks about a fourth monkey. Actually, the history behind it was, three wise monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Right? You know those emojis even. Three wise monkeys. And it's a good thing they are considered as three wise monkeys. You see no evil, you hear no evil, and you speak no evil. There's so much negativity in the world, but you don't pay attention to them. You see no evil. You stay like a blind. So much negativity you hear, but you don't pay attention to them. You stay like a deaf. And although you can speak about negativity, negative things are there, you can speak about them. You try to not speak about these negative things. So this way they say, if you see no evil, if you speak no evil, if you hear no evil, then only the good will remain. That's the concept, that's the idea. Even in Buddhist practices, this type of behavior is encouraged. You stay like a blind. You stay like a deaf person. You stay like a mute, right? When troubles are there, when negative things are there, when evil is there, you somehow escape using these techniques, right? So the Japanese concept, they say, if you see no evil, if you hear no evil, if you speak no evil, only the good things will remain. And that's the history behind these three wise monkeys. But nowadays, they say a fourth monkey has arisen. Who is this fourth monkey? He is lost on a phone, right? The fourth one. And he sees no one, he speaks to no one, and he hears no one because he's lost on a device, right? The fourth monkey, you go to a crowd, you can see this fourth monkeys everywhere. You travel on a bus or a train, you can see all the people, they are lost on their phones. Nobody has situational awareness. Nobody is looking around. Nobody is seeing the sights, right? That type of a disaster is there. Everyone is locked in with their devices. So this is the fourth monkey. In this new age, you can see this fourth monkey. He speaks to no one. He sees no one. He hears no one, right? This fourth monkey, you can't consider him as a wise one. Instead, it is a stupid monkey. And this is the result that they will get. You can really see how people are fully locked in with their devices. You go to a travel in a train, you can see all the people. Everyone is checking their phones. They are focused on their devices. You go to a crowd or a meeting, whenever they get a chance, they check their phones. Maybe messaging someone, maybe calling someone, maybe watching something. That way, people are locked in. That's how they behave. So you can see the fourth monkey. And what is the result? Restless mind, remorse in your mind. That's the only result, because they keep training their minds with these devices, and these devices, they are training yourself to be distracted every 15 seconds. Even you go to a meeting, you sit, phone starts ringing. Even they vibrate, right? So it's really distracting even to conduct a meeting. You have to ask them nicely to put the devices on mute. But still some people, they can't figure out the settings. So anyway, the devices will ring, right? And you can see how distractive those things are. You go sit in a classroom or a meeting, somebody's phone starts ringing. And it is disturbing the whole crowd and the owner as well, right? So this way, these devices have a negative impact. And due to them, especially in this new age, we become our minds become restless, and remorse arises in our minds, right? At least in the old days, people, they used to go outside. They used to, travel in nature. They used to play. They used to talk to other people, the real people, right? And when they travel, they were watching the surrounding. I saw this video, of course, on YouTube, and it was showing a street on a holiday in 90s. All the neighboring kids, they are gathered in the streets, and they play, they run around, they talk to each other. Only in the 90s. Now, if you go to streets on a holiday, nobody will be there, right? All the kids they are inside, playing games, watching movies on devices, right? Even on a holiday, you can't see the kids outside. It's very difficult to see. But this video was showing in 90s, they were playing. The whole street, it's full of children. On a holiday, all the neighboring kids gather and they start playing, they start talking, they start doing various things. So going outside, spending time in nature. But these days you can rarely find it. All right, so you can see how these devices, they are driving us crazy. Our minds are full of chaos due to these devices. And these days they start talking about how to manage your device time. Maybe intentionally forget your phone at home and go for a walk. Those type of advices. Then some people are saying start using dumb phones, not the smartphones, the dumb phones. Dumb phones are basically the ones where you can do simple functions like receiving a message or calling someone. No other functions are there. So there's a trend to, start using dumb phones instead of the smartphones. Or you intentionally forget your phone and you go outside, you go for dinner. And as a result, you get to spend more quality time. Let's say you go with your family members, you intentionally forget your phones. And if you try that, you can see you get to spend more quality time with the family members. You get to experience the surrounding. Even your situational awareness is much better. You are safe due to that, right? So these things are there in this world. And one more thing, when we talk about remorse, we usually get a lot of news. News is basically negative, right? You go watch news. What do you see? Maybe a murder, maybe some disaster, natural disaster, maybe some war, right? Those type of things are sold through media. That's what you can sell. So our minds are negatively biased. Negative things grab our attention. Negative things easily come to our mind. And that's how we function. So when you watch news, when you see those disasters, without you even knowing, uh, fear arises. You are fearful for no reason. You are far away from that disaster, but still you feel fear. You are far away from that war, but still you feel fear. So this way, most of the news, it's not related to you. It's about some other far away thing, which will only make you fearful, which will only make the mind full of chaos. Right? So this way, negative things are there. So negative self-talk appears. Now, what is self-talk? Mindful practitioners, we advise them to be conscious or to be aware of their self-talk. They might be mute outside, they might be mute in their mouth, but in the mind, there is this continuous talking, right? We say commentary, self-talk, those words are used. And it's non-stop. Time after time, various commentary comes, various things, various incidents, various ways to deal with it. So these type of self-talk appear, right? It is within us. When we are not conscious, when we are not mindful, we are encouraging these self-talks without even knowing. In the darkness, they appear, they become stronger and stronger. Right? Sometimes due to them, you disconnect from the reality. When you talk to people who are suffering with mental illness, they have a root cause, or they have a common symptom. They are disconnected with the reality. They are usually in their minds. Some concepts, some delusions, right? Their attention is primarily focused on those things. So you can see how self-talk can evolve into a certain level, and that way uh, these things create doubts, wrongdoing, kind of a feelings, regret, sadness, remorse in mind, right? So it's a good way, good practice to be aware of your self-talk or inner chatter or commentary, right? You can really see how you spend your day. What type of inner chatter is there? You keep observing. That observation is very important. Some people, they realize they have negative inner chatter, negative self-talk, negative commentary within them. Their minds are always finding fault in something, always trying to find faults in others, always seeing darkness in the world. Whatever happens, they see only the negative side, right? So this way, you can really see how these minds are negatively biased. And if you encourage those type of self-talk, inner chatter without you even knowing, what will happen is that you start to see a negative world. You start to see faults in others. You only see the faults. Your child gets 95 marks for the test, you will only focus on the missing 5 marks. You will say good, but 5 more marks are missing. If you can achieve 100%, then that's the way, right? You already achieved 95, but still you forget that. So that way, in this world, we are basically having this negative kind of attitude. We don't see how blessed we are. Instead, we see only the faults. We see negative things in the outside world. The main cause of these type of thought processes, behavior, feelings is simply negative inner chatter. And if you are not conscious, then that will increase more and more, right? So it's a good practice to be conscious of your inner chatter. Maybe you will realize it is mainly negative. Maybe you will realize it is positive. Positive inner chatter is very rare to find, mostly negative. That's how we have our inner chatter. So it's a good way to, observe it. That will help with the remorse of your mind. Simply by being aware, you don't encourage the inner chatter that is happening. That mindfulness, that's the trick. You become mindful of this inner chatter. No longer you encourage this process. If you are not mindful, then what happens is that you start encouraging without you even knowing. Right? So darkness, they create more and more negative inner chatter, more and more restlessness in the mind. So you can see restlessness and remorse. These things appear in our mind. So how to solve this problem? That's the important thing. Now you have to train your mind to be settled. That's the only way. That's why we encourage daily meditation, daily mindful sitting, walking. If you at least can do 20 minutes, that's important, right? Because otherwise we only do the negative training when we go out to the world, when we use the devices, when we deal with things. We only do the negative training. So negative training will drive you towards more and more chaos, right? So instead you have to counter it with positive training. That's what we say. You do a sitting session, you do a walking session, you try to be mindful somehow during the day, and that's a positive training that you are implementing. And that'll settle your mind. I have seen some people, they practice mindful sitting, walking, let's say for a few minutes, let's say 15 or 20 minutes, for the very first time in their life. And their experience is unbelievable. They say, I have experienced a calm state of my mind. I felt like I was in heaven. I was in cloud nine. For the very first time, I have seen something like this. For the very first time in my life, I have experienced something like this. Never before I have experienced such a calm state in my mind. So what happened? You do the training, as a result, the mind settles for a short period. It is not permanent, it is only for like few minutes, but that's a life-changing experience for some people, because for the very first time they see how the mind can be different. Maybe they have experienced restlessness, remorse for the whole lifetime, and now for the first time they experience something different. Right? So that way the training can help. Body awareness. All the time we are saying the body awareness, simply bringing your attention to steps, bringing your attention to breath, bringing your attention to your daily activities and what you feel in the body. That way you train your mind to be concentrated on a single object. And let's say when you start a sitting session, initially you feel friction. Even a couple of days ago, somebody was sharing. Initially, I felt friction. I felt like I don't want to sit. I don't want to continue this. My mind was restless. It had remorse in it. So the practitioner feels like this doesn't work. I should get up. I should give up. That way they feel. But somehow if they continue the 20 minutes of sitting, let's say, initial 10 minutes are difficult, but then you get to see how the mind settles down. And as a result, the latter 10 minutes, they feel much more comfortable, peaceful in their minds. They say, I am glad that I continued my sitting. I'm glad that I didn't give up. I felt much more peaceful towards the end of it. Right? So you can see the restless mind, the remorse in your mind. Those behaviors will always suggest that you give up these practices. Some people, they can't even close their eyes. Somebody was asking, Bante, is it okay to keep my eyes open in a sitting session? Why? Their minds are so restless. Their minds are full of remorse. So they say they can't even stay eyes closed. They feel fearful. These things are real. For few minutes, few seconds, they can't keep their eyes closed because they feel this fear within them. Their minds are so restless. They keep opening their eyes. They keep changing their posture. Basically like a monkey, right? Monkeys, that's how they behave. Monkey mind will make you a monkey, right? So that way, you have to somehow introduce this practice. There's no other way to settle your mind. How to settle your mind? How to make sure this unarise and restlessness doesn't arise? How to make sure that the arise and restlessness doesn't expand? You have to do this positive kind of a training. And when you do this, let's say daily, if you start doing a walking session, sitting session, then what happens is that you get to experience calm. You see, you do a sitting session early in the morning, you see my whole day. Maybe at least the first part of my day was calm and my mind wasn't restless. That way you have to train your mind to settle it, and as a result, you get to see or experience less restlessness, less remorse in your mind, right? So that way you can do a positive training, you can do your daily meditation, you can approach your day mindfully, and as a result, you get to feel much better in your mind. Restlessness and remorse, you can see how these things are reducing. And one more thing I will point out now, let's say when you practice, sometimes your mind, for no reason, it becomes restless. It becomes full of remorse. So people come and complain, they say, today's sitting session wasn't good. I didn't feel good or calm in my mind. I felt restless. Today, whole day, my mind is restless. That way, they come and complain. They say their practice didn't work. But actually, let's say, when you observe, when you witness the restless mind, the mind is full of restlessness. The mind is all over the place. But for a moment, think about the one who is witnessing. The one who is witnessing, he is fully silent. He is fully still. The one who is witnessing is still, right? That you have to understand. When you are witnessing something, the one who is witnessing, he is still. Although what you witness is full of chaos, right? So you have to understand this other side of this mind, maybe like a split mind. Earlier, you have only experienced chaos. You have only experienced restlessness, remorse in your mind. But when you start practicing, when you start developing this observer or witness, that side of your mind, then you get to see one side is full of restlessness, full of chaos, but there is a other side of the same mind who is witnessing this whole thing. That witness is fully still. That witness is silent, right? So that way, the meditators, not initially, when you start, when you keep on practicing for some time, you get to see this split mind. Earlier, you have only seen restlessness, remorse, that's all you experience. But even in a restless mind, you can see there's a side that is still. There's a side that is like a settled pond or a water surface, right? That part you have to develop. I remember someone, maybe after years of practice, of course, someone was sharing one of the extreme situations, taking their sick father to the hospital, and his condition is serious. So the person, the daughter, she was holding the father in the back seat, and the husband was driving. So they kept him engaged because he's in a severe condition. He's sick, probably, on his deathbed. So they kept him engaged. And on the way to the hospital, he passed away. So the daughter who was in the back seat, she knew that the father passed away. And in her mind, she can feel this whole sadness, the wanting to, cry, those type of feelings, those type of emotions arise. In the same mind, there's a silent observer as well. That side is full of calmness, and that observer is seeing this whole emotions, thoughts arising in the mind, right? So this person in that extreme situation, even one side of the mind is trying to scream, trying to cry, trying to experience this whole new level of sadness. In the other side of the mind, it is calm and quiet, right? So even in that type of extreme situation, you can see this split mind. The practitioners who have done their job, done their homework, they can see how the mind is uh, restless, remorse in one side, and how the mind is calm. So you have to understand this witness is there, the observer is there. If you develop that part, then no matter how restless, how chaotic the mind is, there's always a side that is calm and quiet, right? We get to see that part. We get to see this split nature of the mind. That is important for a practitioner. Otherwise, you only experience the restlessness. You only experience the remorse. That's all you experience. But even in the same mind that is restless, there's a side that is calm, that is settled. Even in the same mind that is full of remorse, there's a sign that is fully peaceful, right? So that way, you get to see this split between these two, and it is important in your practice. Even in your practice, when your mind is restless, the observer, the witness, is settled and calm. That part, most of the people, they don't get. They say, my meditation didn't work because the mind was full of chaos. But that very thing becomes their practice. When the mind is not settled, when the mind is full of chaos, simply observe it. The observer is settled. The observer is calm. That part we are missing. We only get to see the observation. But there's an observer. That observer part we are trying to develop. And when we develop that, no matter what happens, In the observation, the observer is always calm and settled. Even in extreme situations like death, you can see one side of your mind is calm and settled. The observer is there, right? So that way we try to develop the observer, develop the witness. And when you develop it, you can see no matter whether the mind is full of chaos, still you can continue your practice. Whether mind settles down, whether mind is full of chaos, both the situations become part of your practice. That way you continue your meditation. I think we are past our time, so we can stop there.
Thank you so much, Bante. That was very insightful, very deep, very inspiring. Thank you very much again for your teaching. Now, as we come to the end of our discourse discussion, I would like to open the space for any closing thoughts or experiences. This is your opportunity to share if you have any questions or if you want to share your experiences, your practice, or if you have any remarks or anything that you would like to share. This is your chance. Yes, Auntie, you can unmute.
Thank you, Kalpani. Thiruvan Saranai Bante, can you hear me? Can you hear?
Yes, Auntie.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I have two experiences I'd like to share and get your remarks and opinion. The first one, we spoke about it last week. So when I was doing sitting meditation, and I had done a lot of meditation that day in the morning, I felt not just one day, it happens more than one day. I feel as if I'm bending from my waist and kind of coming forward, like the whole body is bending. You said, I thought I'm falling asleep, but you said it's not necessary that I'm falling asleep. Now, usually when I'm at home, what I mean is when I'm in BC, in British Columbia, my early morning routine on weekdays is I do 1 hour walking from 4:30 to 5:30 and 45 minutes of sitting. Then I get ready. I have a cup of coffee, get ready, and I go to a nunnery, Aranya, close to my house. And then I do 15 minutes of a little bit of volunteer work for them. And then I sit for another hour. So basically, I drive there. So basically, I'm fairly mindful right throughout. And it is happening mostly when I'm there. So in that 1 hour sit, I'm finding that I'm leaning forward from my waist. The second experience, which I don't know, so I thought I'm falling asleep. It's not like that I'm bending my neck, it's from my waist. The second experience is on days when I've done a lot of walking meditation. So this is my usual routine in the mornings, but most days I walk in the evening too. And some days when I have walked a lot in the evening, I may get up in the night earlier than 4:30, say about 3 o'clock, and my whole body is kind of vibrations. And I have the first time I noticed was about 3-4 years ago, but recently, after one of your classes, I noticed it again, and it comes and goes. I have found if I remain still, these vibrations run from my shoulders down my body, both sides, down the arms, down the side of the body. It's a pleasant feeling. I feel my body getting very cold when that happens. I know that the temperature outside hasn't changed because I'm usually sleeping, and this happens when I get up early morning. Because the thermostat is always set at a particular level, so it can't be that the temperature drop. It's that my body has got hold. So I was wondering if you would have anything to say about these two experiences that I have, which I won't say it's every day, but one is in the sitting meditation, and the other is when I'm sleeping and getting up early in the morning. Now, if I get up and move, it stops. But if I just observe, it can go on for even 30, 40 minutes. Thank you, Bhante.
Yes, thanks for sharing. Now, these things, long time practitioners, they get to experience. And what's happening basically is that, you get a chance to, give up the body, or you get to realize that you are not the owner of this body. Yes, instead you just rent a house. And that's what you do. And that experience comes. For our whole life, we have, we thought, our thought process was that this is my body. But in the practice, certain phases come. No matter how much you try, you can't maintain your posture. It's not sleepiness. Don't assign it to, sleepiness. Instead, you can feel you go away, or your mind moves away from the body. And as a result, body, the posture, it will go into the most comfortable posture that's there is. Let's say in the sitting posture, leaning forward with your waist, right? That's how it becomes comfortable, right? So you can see the body adjusts itself because there's no control of the mind. So that experience is good. You lose the control of your body. Your mind goes to deep meditation. As a result, the body is free. And even the moment your awareness returns, you can see the body is utterly peaceful. But again, you try to control it. You try to adjust your posture. You try to be straight, upright. Right? Again, we take the control of the body. But observe the moment that you return to your body. Observe the moment that your attention returns. At that moment, you are utterly peaceful. You can see your body is utterly peaceful. It has found its own comfort, the comfortable posture, right? So again, we take back the control. Again, with that control, there is a stress created in the body, right? So in meditation, you can see there are phases where these things appear, and it's a chance for you to, understand this is not real. You are not really the owner of this. Instead, you simply rent a house, and that house, it's not under your control, right? So that very understanding is there. So it's an opportunity for you to give up the attachment to your body. And these things are interesting phases in the meditation. Then the second one, when you have done many hours of daily practice, naturally you see that practice continues even during your sleep. That practice continues. There's this interesting statement from Buddha in the section where mindfulness and clear comprehension, Sati Sampajanya Pabba. There you can see Buddha explains that you are in the lie down posture.
Yes.
But you are awake. You haven't surrendered to sleep, right? So be mindful during that part. Then he says, even when you are surrendered to the sleep, be mindful and clear comprehension, right? So how to be mindful during your sleep? That's the question, right? But you have to understand, when you keep on practicing while you are aware, that very practice will continue even during your sleep. That's the whole idea. Even if you die during sleep, still you are protected. The practice will protect you because you came to sleep with a mindful mind. You came to sleep with many hours of daily practice. And as a result, you are protected even during the sleep. And sometimes you wake up earlier because you don't need so much sleeping hours. So many hours you don't need because your mind is already relaxed. Your mind is already comfortable, right? So you wake up, you get to see how these vibrations, things like that, temperature, uh, warmth, coolness in the body. So those things are good omens, we can say. These, for due to many hours of practice, you are experiencing these things. So simply go through those experiences. That's what you have to do. And when you wake up like that, it's a fun thing. It's interesting to stay with the body and see how it behaves. These things, they have been there, but we wasn't aware enough to observe them. Now we get to see the vibrations in the body, the temperature changes in the body. All these things are happening. The body knows. The body will adjust itself. We don't have to control it. We don't have to train it. It knows. That body knowledge we can experience in the practice. That's what's happening. So good experiences. Continue and improve your practice.
Thank you very much, Thero.
Thank you so much, Bhante, again for your advice and your teachings for Auntie. And thank you so much, Auntie, for your sharing your experiences. I think we have come to our time to say goodbye for today. I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to our teacher for his valuable teachings and insightful explanations as always. Thank you so much, Bhante. And thank you so much, everyone, for your presence, for your participation, and for your kind attendance. We will meet again next week too, the same time. Until then, take care.